In another case, the technological tools available in the e-learning environment, you say that you want to employ a specific strategy. Now, this strategy should involve the use of tools, and the tools you use must help you achieve your goals. These tools need to align with the content. If I'm using a specific tool, it must fit the content and the teaching strategy you're using. So there is a connection here between the digital tools and the objectives. Initially, the educational goals, strategies, and the technological tools used aim to create a successful e-learning design. These tools must align with the content. If I'm using a specific tool, it has to fit the content and the teaching strategy you're using. So there's a connection here between the digital tools and the objectives, the educational goals, strategies, and the technological tools used aim to create a successful e-learning design. Between the digital tools and the objectives, the educational goals, strategies, and tools aim to create successful e-learning. Everything we're discussing is important, and our goal today is to break stagnation so every teacher becomes a content expert. They need to know how to deliver their work, be it a book or content, or an active electronic environment. Everything we're discussing is important, and our goal today, as we mentioned in the training, is to break the stagnation in this area so that every teacher present with us becomes a good content expert. They need to understand how to deliver their work, whether it's a book or content, and how we work on it. Of course, one of the most important competencies we focus on, as I mentioned, is designing e-learning. That's why I talked about objectives, strategies, and technological tools. Now we will discuss synchronous and asynchronous learning, meaning synchronous training and asynchronous training. Given that they are two types of education, you can use virtual classrooms in a synchronous manner, and you can use discussion forums in an asynchronous manner. Each of these tools has its own function, and there will be different learning outcomes depending on the educational environment. All right? This is something very important that we need to consider. Since there are two types of education, virtual classrooms can be used synchronously, and discussion forums can be used asynchronously. Each tool has its own function, and there will be different learning outcomes, depending on the educational environment. Okay? This is a very important thing that we need to take into consideration. Okay? One of the ways we have is participation, which is collaborative learning. Here we are talking about participation and motivation. We can motivate learners in different ways and different strategies. I mean, I can say I use different strategies to motivate learners so that they can achieve the goals. What I talked about efficiently, participation and investigation are very important sufficiencies that we are looking forward to. Finally, in the part of the sufficiencies, we may not have made it to be clear and frank. It is a small part that is not as important as what I wrote. What I wrote to you is more important, but there is a very important part, which is, I say, cultural diversity or difference. What expansion and inclusivity? I can't explore in 4 hours. 82 slides to cover, I might touch on inclusivity. Regarding diverse learner needs, supporting differences, and teacher cultural awareness, and student emotional intelligence, these are additional topics. If time runs out, it's okay if I skip them. All right, let's start together with the expansion and the diverse or multiple needs of learners, supporting differences and cultural awareness among teachers regarding the diversity and differences of learners, as well as the emotional intelligence of students. These are additional topics I could discuss today. If there's no time, it won't harm us at all if I don't cover them. All right? Now, let's start together with the... All right, everyone, gather around and prepare yourselves because we are about to embark on an exciting journey together. Let's all unite our efforts and begin this adventure as a team, supporting each other every step of the way. It's time to take the first step forward, hand in hand, and start this incredible experience together. It must have a learning management system. The learning management system, which I've highlighted in red, is an acronym for the words learning management system. Basically, we also need to have awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness of our system, which is Blackboard. If you notice here, when you enter the domain name of the university, our specific section in e-learning is based on a platform from the university itself. You can tell me in the chat, and I'll write it down for you here so that everything is clear. Notice that in the chat, I'm writing to you, learningmanagementsystem.pu.edu.sa. No, the beauty of the system is learning. The learning management system, LMS, is represented by the acronym in the presentation. It is a global term essential for any university or institution to have a robust system. This system includes components for placing educational content, considering learner characteristics in design. Assessments can be presented in various formats, adapting to student learning styles. Content must adhere to educational and psychological principles to meet learners' and teachers' needs. This is crucial. We can place educational content in it, and there are aspects related to design. Of course, in designing this system, the characteristics of the learners are taken into account. For example, I can present assessments or educational materials in various formats. So the test can display one question at a time, or all questions can be on one page, depending on the learning styles of the students. We can vary the methods and formats of presenting assessments, whether it's a regular test or an alternative one. Additionally, my content must adhere to educational and psychological principles that were considered during the design of the learning management system to meet the specific needs of learners first and foremost, as well as teachers, since they use it for instruction. This is very important. We will address educational objectives to meet the needs discussed. Educational objectives are crucial. We will cover their formulation in this training. Strategies, tasks, and activities will be discussed. These are parts of our training day. This contributes to building a supportive digital learning environment. We will review strategies for supporting learners in both synchronous and asynchronous learning. This slide, number 10, is a summary of the training. This is the summary we will work on today. This is the introduction. Educational and employing strategies. We see the tasks and activities. These are all parts that we will talk about in the context of our training day. All of this will contribute to in building a comprehensive digital learning environment that is supportive. We will review strategies for providing support to learners, whether in synchronous or asynchronous learning. This paragraph, everyone, if someone takes a screenshot now, which is slide number 10, is a summary of the training. Honestly, to be clear with you, this is the summary of the training we will work on today. This is the beginning or the introduction. This slide explains today's training. We'll start with educational objectives and review them on Blackboard. This helps attendees who haven't reviewed the syllabus. Check the impact of graphics in web design, a diploma course at applied colleges. Review content and objectives. Objectives are listed in the first, second, and third units, representing a change in behavior. The Blackboard lists objectives for reference during explanations, which you may have already reviewed. This is crucial for attendees from diverse fields, especially non-educational backgrounds, who might not have focused on the syllabus or educational objectives. For instance, consider our course, The Impact of Graphics in Web Design, part of a diploma program. Let's review its content and objectives. The content expert outlined objectives across 3 units. These objectives aim to change behavior through learning. The expert's goal in setting these objectives on Blackboard is to alter learner behavior. Educational objectives are essentially key points or statements. This is in a diploma program at applied colleges. Let's take a look at the content and see the objectives. Here, the content expert mentioned a number of objectives in the first unit, a set of objectives in the second unit, and a set of objectives in the third unit. These educational objectives represent a change in behavior. The learning outcomes mean that here, the expert, when setting the educational objective that we have on Blackboard, what is their goal? Their goal is to change the learner's behavior as a result of learning. So these educational objectives, as you can see, are a set of points, or you could say statements or formulations. I mean, you can say what you want to say, whether it's points, phrases, or formulations. But what's important is that they clarify the behavior that the learner will exhibit after acquiring the educational experience. Here, there is expertise in the principles of graphic design. The content expert has provided a set of formulations or phrases to clarify the behavior the learner will exhibit. The second, third, fourth, and fifth up to Unit 12